If you're either brand new to Clay or you're considering using Clay for B2B lead generation, this is a fantastic video. We have been using Clay for over a year across our campaigns and clients' campaigns, and today we're going to break down what is Clay, some of our favorite use cases, and some tips and tricks you can do to have the best performance of Clay. I'm going to go ahead and hand over the video to my business partner and our COO, Felipe, who's going to go ahead and walk you through everything.
Thanks for the introduction, as always, Michael. And in today's video, we are going to talk about a tool that we use quite a lot internally in our own company that I want to share with you. You might have heard of it already. It's quite the hype nowadays. Everyone has been talking about Clay on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and whatnot. And I will tell you all about this tool, how it all comes together, what it's about it that's so good, what are the ways you could leverage internally in your organization, as well as hopefully get you interested enough in use cases of this tool for us to record more videos on it and give you more specific use cases of how we leverage it internally and how it saves us a lot of time. Now, the tool that we're going to talk about is Clay, and I want to start off this video just by exemplifying what is Clay, how does it help in the first place, and why do we like it so much. So let's start off with what is Clay. Clay is a tool that, just as the name suggests, it is moldable, right? So that's why it's called Clay. It's moldable. You can mold it to be whatever you want it to be. Now, that is quite the broad statement. I wanted to give you a proper example of what does it mean to mold a tool into whatever you want it to be. So to start off, let's take a step back and let's take a look at your organization. What are the tools that you already use internally on a daily basis? So for example, if you have a marketing agency and you're doing outbound, you may be using tools for lead generation or for sending your emails or for your LinkedIn automations, AI, and so forth. Now, examples of tools. Let's say if you're doing lead generation, you might be using Apollo to find leads for your company to reach out to, find companies, find people inside those companies. Which, by the way, for instance, Apollo, there's another video in the channel that we go all about like Apollo and we go in depth on the use cases of Apollo. Now, you might be using Find Email. And by the way, I'll keep on plugging these. We also have videos in the channel talking about how to use Find Email or Million Verifier or Scrubby. Whatever, you can look in the channel, you're gonna find a lot more content on these tools. But nonetheless, let's say you're using these tools for lead generation, you're using these for email validation, you're using LinkedIn and Google for your research, or you're manually cleaning company names on your lead list, for example, right? Just make note of these tools, right, that you're using internally on a daily basis, for example. Then let's say you're sending automated emails. So you're using SmartLead, Instantly, or QuickMail, which, by the way, quick side note, shout out to all of the founders of these three tools. We are friends with all of them, actually. So Viba from SmartLead, Niels and Sumit from Instantly, and Jeremy from QuickMail. Now, not the point of this video, there is videos in the channel that talk about how to use these tools. You can check them out. We use all three of the tools nowadays. But point being, if you're using one of these tools, take another note. Okay, you're using these tools. Then let's say you're using tools for LinkedIn automation or for artificial intelligence to help you automate tasks internally, let's say OpenAI or Gemini. Now, what I want you to think of is that Clay will take a piece of all of the tools that we just talked about and is going to unify all of them in one place. That is the beauty of Clay. It is not a tool on its own, although it has its own functions, but it is a tool that connects all other tools in one place. So if you're using all of these tools to make your company work, you could just put them all together in one place with Clay. Now, how does it do that? It connects through the software. It connects to these softwares through APIs or HTTP requests, if you will, right? Some natively, some not. But what is an API in the first place? If you've never heard of this term, it might seem a little bit daunting. We're going to get into code. And not necessarily. Let me give you an example of what an API would be, right? So even when you are on a website, let's say I open SmartLead's website in this case, and you press a button, whatever button it would be, what it does is it actually triggers an API hit in the backend, right? So let me show you what that means. Let me find a feature that I could click on. Let's say view pricing. So I'm going to inspect the page. I'm going to go to network so I can see what am I calling in the page. And let me press the button view pricing plans. What's going to happen, you're going to see here on the right, is it's going to trigger a whole variety of endpoints. Now, if you were to look at the headers, you're going to see this, right? I hope you can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in. Might not be able to. No, I can't. But anyways, you see right here, it says API.omap API, yada, yada, whatever else is in here. And then it has a response. So what's happening is when you hit the button, it will hit an API, it will hit something in the backend, in the hosting of this website to make it respond with what it should display on the screen, right? So it has like a whole variety of API endpoints that were hit when I just pressed one button. Now what happens is Clay is able to press buttons for you, right? It's not that you have to find the buttons to press. A lot of them are already integrated in Clay. Or if they are not yet, you can always go to the tool, look for an API reference, which is looking for buttons that they've made available for you already, and you can just give this to Clay. I'm not gonna go in depth on how you give this code to Clay. This could be a topic for another video if you're curious about it, but you could easily give this and it will press the button inside the tool for you, and it's gonna respond with whatever that button would have responded, which then allows you to keep going on your process. What would this mean? In this example, let's say I press this button would add this person, Cristiano Ronaldo, to our cold email campaign. And as a result, it will tell us, this is how many leads are inside the campaign, right? How many have we added? How many are duplicates? Yada, yada. It will give us all of the details about the lead that we have just added in that campaign, right? So it pressed the button for us. Now, once again, that is the beauty of Clay. It will connect all of that for you. Most of it will be no code, meaning you don't have to code anything. You just press a few buttons on Clay and it will do the connection for you. You will be able to see that in real time in a minute here, but you can do it in no code, or you could do it with low code, which means you can also use Clay to run a code that you have on your own, which you can generate with ChatGPT, for instance. So it is able to also process low code. And then this is just like a summary. It is quite beginner friendly. They also do a fantastic job at creating like recipes that you can just like duplicate with one push of a button, right? So click, I want a recipe for a waterfall enrichment that uses all of these tools right here for lead generation. They will have a recipe done already that you just click and you implement, and all you have to do is give it the input, for example, a domain of a company that you want to work with, and they will enrich the data about this campaign, the prospects that you could reach out to based on the specific position titles that you're going after, validate the emails, and so forth, right? So that's just one example, but Clay is able to handle all of that for you. Now, if I were to summarize everything I said so far, it just makes it easy for you to perform your typical task, but all from one fancy spreadsheet, right? We're gonna understand what a fancy spreadsheet means once we come into Clay, but it is pretty much, imagine Google Sheets, and every column is a different tool performing a specific action. So in one column I have, let's say, a company domain URL. In the other, I have Apollo.io enriching the information about this company, and I have Find Email finding the email of the CEO of this company, and I have Million Verifier checking if that is real. Those are 4 columns I would have running, and they will all give me different pieces of data, right? Because I'm having Clay push the buttons inside those platforms. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's continue. Then, what can it do for your business or for you as an individual, right? It can do a whole variety of things. I'm going to list a few of them. There is a lot more than this, and you can find that if you go to the website. You can go to integrations and enrichments. We're going to link this down below this video if you want to check it out. It has a lot of integrations that it can do. There's more even than what's listed in this page, so yeah, you can be very creative about it. But here are the examples that we use internally that we recommend you using internally. Number 1, scraping the web. So performing a Google search for top law firms in Georgia. And that would be the Google search. It will return all of the results from that. Clay can do that. Google Maps. What are all of the 5-star hotels in Florida? Job boards. What are all of the companies looking to hire a head of demand gen, right? It can find those things for you, so you can scrape the web. Then enrich data. It can enrich company data, enrich contact data, and clean the data, right? So enriching the data, let's say of a company data, it would be technology installed. Do they have Klaviyo installed on their company? Do they have the Facebook Pixel installed? Are they running ads, so checking the ad library of the company? Do they have reviews on G2? Do they have reviews on Google, etc.? What are their SEO metrics that you could get from tools such as SEMrush or even Ubersuggest? Like, you can pull all of that data from inside Clay. What is their LinkedIn information? How many employees do they have? Where are they located? How long they've been on LinkedIn? So forth. And then related news and press releases. So it could search Google News. It could search specific posts, right? It could search a whole lot of places if you want to put it that way, right? Now, you could also enrich the contact information. That would be the email address, right, of a specific person inside a company. It would be the phone number, either a direct mobile or the company phone number. The LinkedIn information of the person. You could do a waterfall enrichment, which means pretty much using all of the tools to find the data in all of them. So if Apollo doesn't have their email, maybe Find Email does. If Find Email doesn't have the email, maybe Prospeo does. And Clay is able to perform this waterfall fashion of enrichment, of looking which one of the tools has the data that I want and checking if the data is good or not. It could also track job changes. So this person just changed jobs and they went to another company. That would be specifically helpful if you're running a campaign that says, hey, I just noticed that you went from company X to Y. I'm wondering if you're finding the new tech stack of technology 1, technology 2 helpful for achieving whatever is related to your offer, achieving better results with their cold emails. Reason why I ask is because I help companies like the new company they join achieve X, Y, and Z result related to the technology you mentioned. I know it sounded fancy in the way that I put it here, and that's not the exact script for you to run, but that's just to like open your mind and like give you ideas on campaigns that you could be running based on the data that you can find just from like a job change and technology installed, right? Now, next thing, it could also clean data. So it can clean company names, it can clean the first names, it can normalize all of the data that you have, so you're able to plug that into a cold email campaign. If you don't know what that means and how you'd use all of this, I do recommend that you go on Michael's channel and you watch the Small Lead and the Instantly video, right? You're gonna find like how to launch campaigns, how to use this data and whatnot. But for the sake of this video, just mentioning that's a possibility with Clay. And then you can also apply AI agents to work on this data. So you can create personalized lines based on what they saw on LinkedIn, based on what they saw on a podcast that was released and you downloaded the transcript from. It could filter, qualify, or summarize data, right? So you're filtering by the specific keyword that's in there, or qualifying whether they are B2B or B2C, or summarizing whether what is their skills and what is their exact job role, right? Or you could write even scripts. You can have AI take all of the data about the person, write a script that's specifically meant for them, and that will improve your results if you have good prompting, right? And you can even launch campaigns. So you can press buttons that say inside Small Lead or Instantly or Quick Mail. It can even, if you want to, this is something we don't do, it can respond to prospects in appointment settings. So someone replies to your cold email campaign, it will go back, do the research on that person, see who they are, see how that relates to your company, and it will draft a response that you can just press one button to send, or you can automatically send back. And that is how you'd remove yourself completely from the outbound process. Now, full transparency, we don't like using that internally because we don't think AI is quite there yet, and it has some fail rate of around like 5%. And that 5% for us in our company is not something that we're interested in. If it is in your company and you want to save yourself a lot of time, we're all about it. Go for it, right? Now, when should you be leveraging all of this, and how does this compare to other tools? Number one, when you have multi-platform processes that have to be performed, right? So you have a lot of tools that you use internally. You're wasting a lot of time jumping from one to another and getting the result and analyzing the result and writing the script and launching it. Or you have VAs spending hours and hours and hours doing all of this. You could be using Clay to do it all in one place, in one go. The only con to that would be the pricing, perhaps, depending on the tools that you're using. Right, so the pricing can scale quite quickly because all of the tools that you're connecting, they'll eat a credit or multiple credits depending on the tool that you're using. And so for a lot of actions, you may be eating a lot of credits, right? And sometimes it will make sense, sometimes it will not. Most of the time, it makes sense to automate it with Clay and not have someone perform actions anymore and just fully have the automation running. Right? You have to judge that, or you can ask us about it. And you can even like drop a comment, hey, this is the industry that I'm in, these are the tools that I use, do you think Clay is helpful? And we can answer you, right? So drop a comment if that's a question that you have in mind. Now, the next thing is, it simply isn't a tool on its own, right? It's combining all of the tools you already work with. And what it means is, one, it saves you from having to hire someone to build automations on platforms like Make and NADN to connect all of this. That is the alternative of Clay. But also it's just combining everything. And what it means as well is that it will only be as good as your process. When people come to us and they say, hey, I tried Clay, but it doesn't work well for my company, we usually look at them and we're like, so you mean that finding prospects and automating the tasks that you already do doesn't work? And then they go like, no, I mean, Clay doesn't work. It's like, well, it does if you're using it the right way, right? So if you use all of these tools and you get results, Clay will very likely work for you if the pricing makes sense. So I'm being a little bit more pushy on this note because we do get a lot of people that come to us and they say, hey, Clay doesn't work. And we're not trying to promote Clay in any way, shape, or form. But we do respond like, hey, if it does automate all of the hours that you would otherwise spend on those tools, it's just all about the setup that you're creating and making sure the system is neat enough to run, right? And that's where usually a lot of companies fall short. Now, hopefully, we'll be creating a series on this channel that will go all about how to use systems in Clay and how we run our systems that already work and you can just duplicate in your own company. Now, let's start with all of the classroom style of this video and just going through like this boring document that I've created here for you, let's look into Clay. Let's see what we can do from inside Clay. So I'm in Clay. I just created on like create new table. You can see that you can start a table from a whole variety of ways. You could start it blank. You could use a template. That's what I told you before about the recipes that they have. They will have templates for a lot of things. You could start with a search. So like track a job change or like find companies based on specific criteria, find company lookalikes, which is extremely helpful. Start from the data in your CRM, start from Google Maps, all of the things that I listed. Now, I'm not gonna click on each and every single one of these because it wouldn't really make sense. You could just drop a comment with the ones that you're most curious about, and I would love to record you a video on how to use that, right? Or how to create a table around that. For the sake of this video, I will click on blank table and I'll start with a custom table, just so we start from like absolute scratch. Now, it will have 4 columns created already, which are the most common ones: full name, email, company domain, and LinkedIn profile. What I want to do from here is I just want to tell you what are the things you can do from here. So let's say I have a list of company domain. So that's all that I'm going to keep. Let me just remove this right here. It kind of feels like Notion a little bit, the project management tool, when you're dealing with the columns. Not really like Google Sheets because it's more like one at a time. Could be compared to Airtable as well. But anyway, so let's say we have a company here, defimeetings.com, right? Now what I can do is I can add more columns with whatever data that I want or using AI. But I'm going to click on add enrichment. And from here, let's say that I want to find a person inside this company. So I'm going to put LinkedIn and I want to find, let me see, find contacts at company. Let's say that is what I want to be doing, right? So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to save results in this table. Let's see. So company identifier is going to be the company domain. Usually they will ask for like a LinkedIn URL and that will make it better. The job title keyword would be founder. So let's use that as an example. I don't want anything else. So let's continue to add the field and I want to return the name. I want to return the URL and I want to return the title. Okay, let's save and let's run for 1 row. Let's give it a second. Let's see what will happen. It should start queuing it in a minute here. And voila, what it did is it went to DeFi meetings. It found one person that matches the criteria of title being founder. In this case, Michael. Here's his LinkedIn. If you click here, it's going to bring you to Michael's LinkedIn. So this shows you that you wouldn't need to necessarily go on Google, create a search to then find Michael. You could have done it from Clay. Now from here, let's say I want to get his email. So I could just go to recipes. I could take a waterfall enrichment. So let me just type it in, waterfall. And I want to find the work email of Michael's. And I want to do it in this platforms right here. So find email. If it doesn't find it there, then it searches on Lead Magic. Doesn't find it there, it searches on Prospeo, Drop Contact, Hunter, Datagma, and so forth. So, and you can even like validate this, which I'm not going to do in this specific case. But okay, we're going to have the full name, the company domain. Could we give it the LinkedIn URL? I don't think so in this case. But let's save and run this. Let's see what will happen. Okay, there we go. The first one already found it. By the way, Find Email is fantastic. We have a video in the channel talking about how it works, if you're curious about that. But in this case, it ran. And because it already found a valid email, it didn't run all of the other tools, so it saves you credits. Now, this shows you that if I went here and I added another domain, whatever domain it would be, everything else would execute automatically. It would find the person at this company that has the position title founder, it would find their email, and it would save it all here. Now, from here, what else do I want to do? Do I want to find more information about this person? Do I want to find their competitor? Do I want to find information about their products? Do I want to, like anything really that you're looking for, you can just come in here, select that, it will add it as a column just as easily as I showed you before, and it will get you the data. Now, let's say you want to launch this into your campaigns, right? So you could be adding here like Smart Lead, and you can add the lead to a campaign. So with a click of a button, it is going to add this lead into your campaign on Smart Lead. So you can create a tool that will constantly keep on scraping job boards, and as soon as it finds someone that meets your criteria, it will add them to your cold email campaign with a specific script. Right? So that is the value of Clay. And this is a beginner's tutorial on how to use it. You create a table, either store with a template or one of the campaign starters, which would be like job board or scraping Google or so forth. Then you're going to be able to add enrichments and perform actions from here. So this is pretty much the way that you use Clay. Of course, there is a lot more features to this tool. There's so much more that we could be doing, so much more that we could be building, but that would be a topic for another video. If you're curious on how to use Clay further and you want more videos on it, please drop a comment down below. I would love to record a video about it. Now, that is going to be it for this video. Thanks for having me, Michael, and I'll pass the word back to you.
Thanks, Felipe. That video was great. Now, if you want to go ahead and sign up to use Clay, there is a link in the description. Or if you want to work with us to build out your lead generation systems, there is also a link in the description to do that, where you can book a call and we can talk one-on-one to see what working together would look like. Thanks for watching. Drop any questions in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.